All right, everybody. Listen, I am just so excited. You can just see how happy I am. It is because this is an interview that really, really means a lot to me. Many of you have found me through the Food Truck Scholar podcast, through the podcast, through maybe the Instagram lives, or maybe the magazine articles I've written, or wherever the case may be. But honestly and truly, you would not know me if I didn't have a connection with this very first food truck, and that is the BB Queen in Peoria, Illinois. And that is because of Betty White and her son, Spank Edwards. On June 6, 2018, I sat in my couch and I wrote out what I saw the vision of the food truck scholar being. And I drew that logo by hand. And a couple of weeks later, on June 22nd, I drove up to Peoria and I got a chance to meet Betty and Spank, and never met them before, but I had saw a post on social media and I was just so excited to meet them. That was 3 years ago. Now we're here, and I just could not imagine reflecting on the podcast, reflecting on our anniversary and all the things that we've done. I could not imagine doing that without Betty. So I just want to say thank you for coming back.
You're so welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for having me back. I'm still
Oh,
excited too.
oh my gosh. Okay, so I remember it like it was. I can't believe it's been so long.
Right, right.
Like, so Spank had posted a flyer about a food truck event. I was like, oh, he got a food truck. That's cool. Like, I had knew of him, by having a lot of dance classes, and it was a really good time. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to partake in them. And so I saw that post, and at that point in time, my research was on food trucks. I wanted to create a platform that celebrated all food trucks, especially black food truckers. Saw he had that, wanted to reach out to him and get started. So I come there and I see y'all. Y'all are in this parking lot of a church. It's across the street from like assisted living. And I see it's a purple truck. So I'm excited because my
Mhm.
logo is purple. So I'm all types of excited and happy.
Wow.
And the pineapple princess, which we will get to in a moment, because that I still think about to this day. There has never been any other pineapple drink on that level. It is still in my soul. That profile picture was mine for the longest amount of time with that pineapple. It was just great. Like, it was. I remember we spent like 6 hours out there with y'all that day.
Yep, yep. I remember that.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So, oh my, I don't even know where to begin. So
I started doing the research. I had my daughter to do the research. We both was, looking for the right price and all this other different good stuff. And I can recall back in 1997, I had made some cheese fries just for my daughter and her friends. So they were just eating them, licking their finger. Oh, Miss Betty, you need to put this on the market. You need to sell this, going on and on and on. I'm like, really? You would buy this? I was just doing something. So that's how I got started. So I started kind of doing it in my house. But the year that 2016, when I got the food truck, I'm like, yeah, I would do bacon cheese fries. I add a little. That's what I add, bacon cheese fries. So that's what the truck started out to be, was just selling bacon cheese fries. And from that point on, I tell you, my daughter made a special season. Oh my God, those fries, that bacon and cheese was just amazing. Everywhere we went, people was just flocking at the truck. They had never had anything like that before. So it was pretty much that's where we pretty much started from. I wanted to get something on my own to always fall back on, that nobody can take this away from me. So that's how we got started rolling by being laid off with injuries.
Yeah.
So
You know,
I kind of forgot about that.
I always have a lot of respect for educators because my great aunt was one. And so she had did a little bit of everything from early childhood education. She actually homeschooled me and raised me, but also near the end of her life, she did a whole lot with a lot of different school systems, also outside the school systems, a lot of different group homes, and she often had to restrain young adults
Mm-hmm.
and children. And so I remember, the conversations that she would have when she would come home about like how two girls got into a fight and she had to separate them, and
Yeah.
if they ran away, the reports that she would have to make if they ran off, and how she would have to, come back and look out for them, and like the whole process. I remember that. There's a lot of things that happened. They stole a phone one day, and she was
Oh my God.
a lot of stories. So like,
Yes. I'm glad you can relate, because whew, only by
yeah,
the grace of God that I'm not locked up. I've had people to hit me,
mm-hmm,
not all the time on purpose, but as they were swinging at someone else.
yes.
Or I had one little boy, he was so mad at me that I didn't let him get to fighting with someone else. This little boy spit in my face. Whoo, Jesus, Jesus. So at that point, then I know I couldn't do this for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I came in the food truck. It just grew. Like I said, we started off with the fries, and um, it just launched out into something bigger. And even when we open back up, we want to do, bigger things. And we start doing the hot dogs, the start adding the nachos, the different type of nachos. And then when Spanky came home and started helping, oh my goodness. I mean, he just went skyrocket. He don't mind trying nothing. The burgers, the ribs, the
Yes.
pineapple. Oh my God. He even started putting pineapples on the hamburgers, and they were selling like crazy.
And y'all didn't
So
tell me about them.
I mean, these were just things that he was just quick. He was just with it. Like, Mom, I want to try to go ahead. I had got to the point then, go ahead. Whatever you want to do it. I'm backing you up. I'm working with you. So, I mean, it was fun. It brought our relationship closer. I mean, and we was tired. Oh my God, we were tired, but we kept going. So that's how the food truck industry started with us, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
Wow. So tell me about the moment when you get the truck and you really start laying out your vision. What's the feeling?
I was so excited. until we had like our grand opening in our backyard. It was mostly family. Because when I got the truck, I didn't tell nobody. I didn't tell my family. It was just my kids. And when we had our grand opening, kind of let everybody know, this is what we're going to be doing. I was excited. I really didn't even notice if anybody else was. I know the kids was. And as I was sitting back there looking, I'm like, I can leave this to my kids, and my kids can leave it for my grandkids. That was the most touching thing out of the whole food truck ordeal for me, was having to leave something for my children and my grandchildren. So it was amazing.
It was a beautiful feeling. And one thing I know is that one, the food is good because I still remember what I had. Like I had the Peoria special.
The P Town special.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, what was the P Town special?
It's the rib tips.
Oh yeah, half tip. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, see, y'all updated
Yeah.
it now for P Town, but when I was there, y'all called it the Peoria special. I still got my
Yeah,
pictures.
yeah. And the drink that was in that pineapple, that was from Mississippi. And that's where I
Ooh.
originally from. My mom used to make that. She used to make like the icy cups, the little styrofoam cups.
Mm-hmm.
Them. And back then, you sold them for a dime. You was doing good if you sold those for a dime. We got styrofoam all up and down the street with the kids. So that's where that drink came from. So
Wow.
yes, it was very popular. It was
It
popular.
was blessed. I was blessed.
Yes. you know, our story about that pineapple is a lady had came and bought a pineapple drink, and she went out to the mall and she was drinking it, and someone asked her where did she get it from. She came and she told us, I just met someone out in the mall with this pineapple drink. I need to get this drink just because of the look of it is what she was looking for. But my God, when she tasted, oh, you talking about the orders coming in? Yeah, it was amazing.
I
So,
remember I had it, and then I had my camera person with me, and I really appreciated him, coming out, and because he didn't have to do it, like it was like moments notice type of thing,
right.
and so I said, hey, lunch is on me. What you want? He was like, oh, I'm not really hungry. I'm like, get something. He was like, okay, that pineapple drink. He gets it, and he he starts drinking it, like his eyes get big. I said, it's good, ain't it? And he's all he could say is, mm-hmm. He was like, he said, dang, I should have got another one. I said, I told you. What did you want to
hmm
eat when we was there? So now we on the
hmm
interstate, and now you having second thoughts because you should have went and got
Right.
it.
Yeah, it was a big sale at a lot of the events, like food truck festivals, the picture frame downtown, and just the area we was in was like the low poverty area. I don't know if you remember or not, but it was like a project also be right across the
Mm-hmm.
street from that senior citizen home. So we used to serve a lot of people down there, and they was just so grateful that we would be down there in their area selling food that tastes that good. They couldn't believe it. So by word of mouth, the word got around. So it was a blessing.
You bring up a good point because a lot of times we have to talk about food access and the quality of food that
Mm-hmm.
exists in black neighborhoods, especially lower income black neighborhoods. And for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, there is this belief that black people of lower socioeconomic status don't deserve good quality food or good quality
Exactly.
service.
Right. Right. And that wasn't us. We cooked for them as if we was in the richest part of town. And when you treat people with that type of respect, you build a good relationship with them. You treat them like they're somebody. And like you said, you all are down here in this neighborhood. We're like, yeah, this is where we're from. There are no restaurants around. They took the closest grocery stores around. So yeah, we're not gonna do you any different than if we were at the state fair. We're gonna do you the same. So we built a lot of relationship. People used to just come by and just sit back and talk, just talk, and we did a lot of amazing things out there. I miss it.
You
I
know,
really do.
I was able to witness that because I got there early in the morning. Y'all wasn't scheduled to open until much later, but
Mm-hmm.
people would ride by, they'll wave at you, they'll yell at the truck, and be
Mm-hmm.
like, "Y'all open?" And then y'all actually had to open early because they saw
Right.
me out there and they thought that y'all was open. And then next
Mm-hmm.
thing you know, there was just a group of people at the truck. So I was able to
Yes.
see that firsthand. That
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
really is a community atmosphere.
Yes. Yes, that's true. That is true. And there were so many important, amazing things that happened. I remember this one little girl, because as a matter of fact, it's two senior homes over there, isn't it? It was two senior homes over there. And during the summer, a lot of the younger kids would come and stay with their grandparents while mom was at work. So this little girl, she came over to the food truck and she was, how much is this? How much is that? And she started counting her money. I said, what are you trying to get? She said, I would like to get my grandmama something because we don't have anything to eat over there. I said, oh, I said, okay. I said, what did your grandma want? And she said her grandma wanted some rib tips, but she didn't have enough money. I said, oh, sweetheart, I said, you know what? Come on, get what your grandmama wants. So she took her little money, she gave it to me. I said, this would be for you. I think she wanted a Brock or something. And tell your grandma, this is from the food truck because we appreciate the business you had been giving us. So it's just something that small that really, she like, really? And from that point on, she used to just come over there just to sit and talk, just sit and talk with us. And I would say, did you eat yet? Well, I had some cereal this morning, or well, I'll be eating a little later on. I said, well, I really enjoyed your company today. Come on and eat with me, different little stuff like this. And then I said, well, this is something that we're not going to be using. Why don't you take this to your grandma? Find avenues to kind of help people that don't have anything, and you just kind of be a blessing to them. So we was there for a purpose, and I know what that purpose was. So
People don't care how much you know until they
until
know
they know
how
how
much
much.
you care.
That's right. Yeah, that's so true. That is true. So we had a lot of people come by, and I heard the food was good, and then they'll come back, man, those rib tips, man, those rib. What is your recipe? Did you guys make this sauce yourself? It's just sauce that we put our own seasoning, own mix to. And then Spanky had the audacity to start making some jerk chicken. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Did you used to serve that with pineapples too? Put pineapples on your jerk chicken? Oh my goodness, that jerk chicken. What was the jerk chicken with? Fries. We got to the point we had jerk chicken fries. We had fries over rib tips. It was, like a topping. Like people do, they pull pork.
Mm-hmm.
We had the rib tips that we put it over the fries, the jerk chicken over the fries, the what else did we have? Hamburgers. Oh my God, the gourmet burgers. Oh my goodness. I told you Spanky did his thing on that truck. I People would come far near and far just for the burgers. I mean, I'm like, they're just burgers. And then one time I taste one. I'm like, oh, what you put in here? He didn't even tell me. What's going on up in
Listen, not all burgers are created equal.
here?
As someone that loves burgers, all burgers are not
Ooh,
created equal.
they're not. They're really not. They are not created equal at all. And We had this young man. He used to come out just about every day when he got off of work, get him a burger. Yes. So I'm sitting back here talking about this. So many things I had forgot that we did, and the fun we had. But I'm kind of looking forward to getting back out there once this pandemic is over.
So, absolutely. So, what has it been like? The first question I have is, what has it been like during the pandemic? And then we'll get to the next one in a moment.
We didn't. We, as a matter of fact, we didn't do anything last year because the pandemic started in March,
Mm-hmm.
and usually in March we're just starting to get the truck cleaned out and start setting up appointments and events and stuff like that.
Right.
And we had events already set up from the year before, and once we this thing started, it was just killing folks. It was just so contagious. So a lot of people started counseling, and then we had to start counseling our events, and it's been, I'm not gonna say depressing. It just kind of wears you out because you keep thinking to yourself, okay, it's going to be okay. So this is March. Yeah, okay, we get to the end of May.
Yeah.
End of May get here. Okay, the summer's beginning to come here. That's when we really start, business start picking up. And it was like, wow, this is really not about to open up too soon. So it's been a struggle emotionally as well as mentally. It's been a real struggle. It haven't been easy at all. So
So I want to ask this, and I want to say thank you first and foremost for sharing with me. And I know there's a lot of food truckers that are in similar positions. And so my question for you is, in the midst of everything, in the midst of, thinking that this was going to be something that'll be over soon, and here we are, look, by a year in, how have you been able to keep going and keep the optimism, keep the hope alive in the midst of the frustration, in the midst of the aggravation? How have you been able to keep moving?
well, I am working at a different district, and we didn't miss a beat. When about time we closed, it was like a week before spring break, and I remember that too. It's like March the 13th. We had this big meeting. All the schools was closing. We had no idea what it was or nothing. All the schools would be closing like a week before spring break. And hopefully by the time spring break is over, we'll be coming back. That didn't happen. So another month went by, that didn't happen. So the schools started setting up virtual learning. That's when we're getting online. We had to, when we left, they told us to, take any and everything we had because we didn't know what was going to happen. We was sending out packages to the kids to be working on. We had to do all this Xerox and, just to keep the kids going until we got back. Unfortunately, that haven't happened yet, and it's almost been a year. So that's what's really been keeping us above the water is the fact that I'm still working. But you know, I just keep paddling, keep hoping, and keep praying. So trust me, it's been tempting because you see stuff on we have a food truck page where telling you that about they need a food truck for a marriage or a birthday coming up due to the fact that restaurants are closed, wondering if
Mm-hmm.
a food truck can come. It'd be so tempting. It'd be so tempting. But then again, I have to like, no, I'm just going to wait, stay in and wait, stay safe and wait. So the struggles, it's been real. It got real, especially during the summer.
Mm-hmm. Because that's the
So,
prime. Yeah, that's the prime time of the season. And
yeah.
I've seen a lot of food trucks because I have to be balanced. You know, there are some food trucks that in this moment they're up 60%, but then there are some food trucks they're down 35%. There are other food trucks that have had to close their doors altogether, and it really comes down to where you're positioned geographically and honestly how supportive of a municipality you have as it comes down to food truck ordinances. In some places, food trucks have been starved. The scene just starved completely. You know, what COVID didn't finish off, you know, the city government hasn't had, you
Mm-hmm.
know, hadn't been
Yeah.
as supportive as they
Yes.
needed to be.
Oh my God. That's a whole different story. It's like we had to fight with nails, just scratching, trying to fit in or get in, even with giving out the small business loans and stuff like that. They don't consider us as a small business because, well, you don't have a commercial kitchen, and we need you to show where just all type of license, and we keep telling, when we're working like that, we only get a temporary license. So it's just fighting through stuff like that. It's been a real struggle. So I don't know where the money at, but it didn't come our way.
And I've been trying to educate myself more and more about the loans and about the PPP and about a lot of other these grants that are coming out. For example, lisc.org is another space that has some grants available. They just closed one and then they're going to open up another one on the 8th. Um, and the biggest challenge, and I do know that theirs is open to food trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I will definitely
Like that.
send you that link. Li
Okay.
lisc.org. They've been doing things. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm
Okay.
trying to do my best on that. Sometimes I find out about them last minute, but I'm trying to, you know, as soon as I find out about them, to talk about it on my page. If I need to do a fast tip on the podcast, but that's been one of them. And ultimately, there is a nationwide issue with food truck policies, and just overall having a city that understands the food truck process and actually making it, in not just with food trucks but with small businesses period, just streamlining the process of what it takes to get a permit and what it takes to have, you know, all your dots, you know, dotted and t's crossed. Like you got to go to 50 million different places and they don't tell you where you're supposed to
Exactly.
go.
Exactly. Exactly. And one thing with us, and what I question the health department all the time, if you can give me a temporary license every, sometimes we try to make them last as long as possible, like 2 weeks, probably like the limit. Why you can't use that same thing with a permanent license? If anything go wrong, we do anything we not supposed to be doing, you do us just like you do a restaurant. You give us so long to get it fixed, to get it right. A permanent license can be just like a temporary license where you need a commercial kitchen. Well, the things we're dealing with now can all be done on the truck, but those rules are just like it's in stone. They're not willing to change, and a lot of it needs to be changed. So it's we even had, then after so many food truck, or right after we got our food truck, they started telling us that we had to get an inspection from the fire department. That had never happened before. So as things going along, as a matter of fact, just earlier this week, I began to realize that was discrimination, because they don't do everybody like that. We bought a second truck, and we bought it from little ladies out of town in a mostly white town. They've had it for like what, 28 years, 27 years, Frankie? 20 some years. They had a deep fryer in it. just a whole lot of things that we was really looking forward. Yes, this is it. We can go back to the fries or whatever. The fire department came, inspect the truck, and told us that we had to have a hood with the sprinkler sensor, that draws the
Yeah.
heat. That we had to have that with the sprinkler before they can before it passed inspection.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what we had to do? We had to take that fryer out of our truck before they would even give us a license to sell even drinks. Or I would say drink, that's a little bit too far. But before it can pass inspection or anything, we either had to get what they told us we had to get, or we had to take that out. And that's what we had to do because at the time we didn't have the money to get all the things they said we needed. And I'm sitting here thinking like,
that wasn't even work. That hood was about $4,000,
yeah,
and
it
then
like,
we wouldn't have. We had to get the whole truck.
hold on, let me let Spank it. No, okay. Anyway, he said the hood that they was requesting cost like $4,000, and by the time you got the hood and had to tear out the part and pay somebody to do it, it really wasn't worth it. We couldn't do it at that time, so therefore we have a lot of equipment that we can't use sitting out there on my balcony, not being used. And how did these people that had it before us, how did they get to use it all of these years deep frying without all of this equipment on there?
And was it a different city or is it the same city?
It was a different city, but it's in Illinois. We're in the same state. And a deep fryer is a deep fry, whether you're frying chicken or fries or what. They didn't require it.
The one thing that I have seen and I think the state of Florida is the only exception that I've seen because about last year, the beginning of last year, maybe 2019, but I'm feeling pretty confident about 2020. The state of Florida just collapsed it because it can vary on requirements from the municipality to municipality. Florida was one of those states that just said, okay, the state is just going to handle all of it. So Daytona, Orlando, Miami, same thing apply.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of other places, what may fly in Birmingham may not fly in Hoover, even though they 30 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and so that's how a lot of states do it. Is that yeah, this may work in Champaign, Illinois, but it may not work in Peoria, and it may not work in Chicago. So I've seen some festivals; they'll have an
Yeah.
event, right? And
Yeah.
you'll have food trucks that's within the surrounding areas, maybe like 30 to 45 minutes out,
If that, yeah.
if that.
Different. Yeah.
But if it's a different county or a different city and they have, different permit expectations, all of them are going to be different. Some places say, well, the generator needs to be this many centimeters off the
Mm-hmm.
ground once it's full with the propane. Another place may say, well, it got to be this many centimeters instead. And so you constantly have to be like, okay, if I'm in this area, that I got to make sure that it's this
Yes.
specifications.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And with Peoria, I know a lot of other food trucks, they don't do events in Peoria. They said because the health department is too harsh. Now that the fire department is in it, they just too harsh, and it shouldn't be that way to operate in a business. I know a friend of mine from Florida. Well, she was telling me that you don't need a commentary kitchen in Florida. They can just bake and cook right out of their houses. I think she says $12 for each event.
Interesting.
Yeah, they have home
Yeah,
restaurants.
yeah, they have home restaurants in Florida because she used to live here and she was into baking,
Mm-hmm.
and she did the research and she found out where you can just pay $12 for each event and you can cook and bake. And she says she's doing real well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So there definitely have been some challenges. Part of that is with COVID-19. The other part of that is just the typical things that food trucks have come to experience, navigating the city and, navigating the government. But, I know that you said you're looking forward to coming back. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to, particularly about the food truck? What are some of the things that you miss and you're looking forward to seeing once you get back on the road?
The money for one. Um, just being out, meeting people. Um, I think once we're uh everything open back up, I want to be like in one place, set up in one place like we did before. But this time, instead of a church parking lot, I want to have like get a permit from the city and set up in like on the street somewhere in an area like that.
Are you gonna add anything to the menu? Because I need to know. Is the pineapple princess still gonna be there?
Yes, ma'am. Pineapple Princess. Yes, it's still going to be there.
Pineapple princess.
Pineapple Princess.
Fine
It's a
apple.
fine
It's a fine
apple.
apple princess. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Get me correct.
Yes. Yes. We probably going to add mac and cheese and just get away with the fries. Do away with the fries. Period. That was a hot seller too. The mac and cheese, hip tips, ribs, mac and cheese with that jerk chicken. We said we were gonna add rice too to go with the jerk chicken. I mean set of rice. Yeah.
Listen, I might have to drive to Peoria just to get mac and cheese because we are struggling out here in West Lafayette. No, I'm so serious. We don't have a black-owned restaurant in West Lafayette.
Really?
We don't have one. No, not at all. We have to drive at least an hour and a half to get to a black-owned restaurant. So,
You in India?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm, wow.
It's rough out here in these streets.
Wow.
It's rough out here in these streets, and I've tried mac and cheese from several places here. It was not okay, so I might have
Baby
to
girl,
make the voyage.
baby girl. I'm telling you. My mac and cheese is wonderful, but my daughter, see, she put a whole lot of different cheese with hers and then she bake it. Honey, only thing I'm going to say is when you start eating it, don't have nobody around you because it makes you want to slap somebody for real.
She said, "Don't have nobody around you.
Don't have nobody close to you. You
Eat it
know,
in privacy."
you just do it in privacy because I'm telling you, you're going to holler, you're going to act real silly because I eat, just about every holiday and I still cut up every time I eat it.
Let me find out.
Yes. On a serious note, she just be showing out. And I told her, when this food truck open back up, we're gonna have to put this on the market. Yeah, we have to put that on. So that'll be one thing. And due to the fact that we have two food trucks, we are going to start doing like shakes, BB Queen blizzards. I forgot what I call it. It wasn't blizzard, but we'll change. Just going into the ice cream and the special drinks. One truck for that. So, yes, ma'am.
With all these updates, it was time for us to sit down and have an update because you done got a second truck, you got the ice cream. It was time for us to sit down.
I used to do that out of my house, like I so long before I got the truck too, to make the blizzards and stuff like that. And yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, you know, I'm just happy because it's been 3 years, and who would have thought this is where we'll be? Well, nobody saw 2020 coming, but
No.
when when I think about where we were when I first met you and where we are right now, this is something that I could have only dreamed would happen, and it still wasn't what I thought it would be. It's become so much more, and so I want to publicly thank you and Spank for taking a chance out on me, for being willing to let me sit down and interview with you, spend the day with you, try the
You're welcome.
fine apple princess, the P-Town special, and making me feel just right at home. I enjoyed every bit of the conversation.
Oh, thank you for thinking of me, for wanting to have me. It's been really an honor. And just from the time I've sit here and talked to you, it just motivated me even more because I was kind of getting to the point like, well, you know what, I just let it be. I'm not. But it's more than just making money. It really is. It's about keeping yourself inspired, and you don't know how much it make you feel for people to just tell you that your food was good. Sometimes, especially when I first started doing the reels, I'm like, man, oh, I was so nervous. What if they didn't turn out right? What if this? What if that? But once people start eating them and then they come back with the good report, not only with the good report, they would send somebody. And, it's just, it lets you know that you have a purpose. It's a good feeling. So I am inspired from this interview. I really
My
am.
God. So, if you were to tell or give rather a piece of advice to another food trucker out there that's in a similar situation, COVID has gotten the best of a lot of us. We're in a position that we
Mm-hmm.
didn't think that we would be in, and maybe they're sitting down saying, "I don't know if it's worth going back to." What would you tell them?
It's worth going back to. Just spend this time evaluating yourself. How can you do better than you did before? How can you prepare yourself that after we open back up fully, after this pandemic is over, what can I do to prepare myself for if it happened again? It just like, don't be surprised at nothing. If this happened again, we're going to be ready. We're going to do uh, deliveries. We're going to have curbside services. We're going to be more prepared. Just prepare yourself for the worst, and you can't go wrong. That's what I would say to anybody. Stay motivated, encourage yourself. We'll be back out there. We'll be back stronger.
And I too will be out there because I got to get a repeat of my order.
Yes. So I'm just saying thank you for this interview. It just took me back, and it's like, no, I'm not going to sit on this. I'm gonna get up, and we're gonna do it all over again. But this time we're gonna do it better. We're gonna do more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You are welcome. You're very welcome.